are mail merge and table insertion. So let's get started. I have all my files in a folder, and I just want to take a moment and show those to you. If you expand between name and date inside your folder, you'll see that the top file for me has a student name before it, and that is the file we'll be working with first. Then there's an Excel file. Notice the green icon right here? That Excel file will be our mail merge addresses. The next file, look how similar these files are named. There's 3 files named almost exactly the same. Has the word thanks at the end. That is the document we will be inserting for a letter, okay? But we won't use that one first. And then beneath, Home Store 12 instructions are the steps we'll be doing with our mail merge today. So one of the things it talks about first is how we're supposed to save it. So the first thing it says in saving is to download the file, but look, you're supposed to save with your last name at the end. I'm suggesting to people that now, since there's so many files that are the same, put the number 1 in front of it, because I think you're gonna find that that number 1 in front of it is gonna help you upload that file easier, all right? So I'm gonna open my file, and the file I'm using has it has students, but it probably defaulted and put your last name up there at that file, right up here. So I'm gonna go File, Save As, and I'm gonna go back into my folder. I was using a folder in my desktop. You may be using a pen drive. I'm gonna delete the student and put the number 1. After homework, it says put your first and last name. No, it says last name, then first. So I'm gonna put my first and last name. And now I know when I upload, I'm gonna be looking for that 1, right? Okay, save. All right, and your file should look something similar to this. Home improvement tips here at the top, some blue headers, a table, and at the end, another setup for a table. So that's the end of step 1. Everybody on board? All right, we're gonna cruise on down to step 2. Move to the last page of the document and convert the text beginning with under 100 to update maintenance and make it a table. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight from under 100 all the way down to update maintenance. And all I did, guys, was click and hold my mouse. I clicked my mouse at under 100 and I just dragged it all the way down to update maintenance. All right? What? The very bottom of the document. All right? And so when you have all that highlighted, I'm going to go to Insert, and then I'm going to go to Table, but I'm going to click the pull down table because we want to actually convert this text to a table. So you don't want to just click on the table icon itself. You want to click on the little arrow chevron underneath it and come all the way down and click Convert Text to Table. Now, this is going to convert pretty smoothly. The document tells us to just accept default, so we're going to say OK. But notice everything was already spaced out in columns, so it inserted into that table pretty easily. All right, that's into step 2. And then now we're going to step 3. All right, insert a row above row 1. So what I do is I click off the table now because I don't want the whole table highlighted, and I click again right before under 100. And I just want my mouse cursor in there. I don't want that whole cell highlighted. And it says insert a row above. So I'm going to click left to get my mouse cursor in there, and then I'm going to click my mouse right to insert row above. And you click insert row above. And now it says type home improvement tips in the first cell. So I'm going to highlight home improvement tips and copy it. I'm going to click in the first cell and go Control V and paste it. And it says in the first cell of the new row, Now merge all the cells in that row. So what I do is I click on the cell and I highlight all 4 cells. Okay? You want to out-click the cell you were just typing in and highlight all 4 cells. And then I right-click my mouse and I choose Merge Cells. And what this is going to do is take those dividers away and make one big fat cell. Okay? And it says merge all the cells and now bold and center the text in the row. So I'm going to come back to my home. I'm going to hit bold, which it already was bold. And then I'm going to go to the center in my paragraph alignment. Change the font size of the text to 18. So right now, for my document, it happens to be at 9. I'm going to come up here. You still need the cell highlighted or your words highlighted, and I'm going to go to 18. Bold and center the text in row 2. So now it says bold and center text in row 2. So I'm going to click on off of my title. I'm going to highlight row 2, which says under 100, 100 to 200, 200 to 400, and greater than 400. And it says hit bold, and then come over to the paragraph alignment and hit center and save. And that's the end of step 3. Everybody with me? All right, step 7. We want to remove bold formatting from row 3 through rows 8. So actually you don't think about it, but this is row 1 up here with our return on estimate. This right here is row 2. So row 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is right there. And it wants us to remove bold formatting in column 1, so we just highlight high efficiency showers for insulation.
The conference will automatically end in 5 minutes.
Click the bold, and then it's no longer bolded. And ensure that the text in row 1 and 2 is bold. So we're going to come back here to row 1, which is our title actually, and we're going to highlight rows 1 and 2, and then we do want those to be bold. And then center the table horizontally on the page. So if you click here, you can actually center it by going to paragraph and hit center. And I'm sure there's other ways to do that too. And save. And that's the end of step 7. Step 8. Insert a row after the last row in the first table on page 2. So we're still on the first table on page 2, and they want us to insert a row after the last row. So if you'll click on somewhere in the floor insulation cell and then right click, again you'll go insert row below. You'll find that these abilities to add to a table of inserting and right clicking are the exact same that we'll be doing in Excel, and so it's really handy. Type total in the first cell, so I type total right here, and then it's asking us in the 5th cell on the last row to enter a formula to total the annual savings. So right here is our annual savings. How would we go about coming up with a formula for this cell to total that all up? What would we be looking at doing? How would you get the total of 32 and 32 and 45 and $4.80 and 96 cents and $14? What would you do to them? Yes, you would add them up. So we're going to go to it's a formula, and I'm thinking it's in Interesting. It was there earlier.
Right here, mine it says equations next to the symbols.
Okay.
The conference will automatically end in 30 seconds.
And go to equation. However, I'm going to choose to go to layout. Yes. Morning. I'm going to click on the data tab, and maybe because I've resized my ribbon, it's not showing. But I was looking for the formula symbol. There's obviously more than one.
Conference ending. Goodbye.
And it's asking us to sum all the above. So it's saying we want to write a formula with equals and sum above. I did not type anything. That's the default formula because Office is assuming that's what you want to do. Then in number format, you want to click this pull down and you want the third one. Look, it's dollar, number, comma, number, decimal point, 00. So it's showing you the ways it can be written. And then you click OK. And it has formed that there are $223.80. Now, that little mark before the 200 is actually not a negative. I want to make that just a little bigger for a second. These little marks right here are non-marking paragraph marks. So watch, I can come over here to the Home tab and click my P for show and hide paragraph marks, and those little marks are gone. That was a default when the document was downloaded to show you spacing, and you'll need to know how to bring up non-marking. If we were to print, even with this P on, it would not print all these symbols, okay? So I did want to explain that. Okay.
Mine came out with like 40,000.
Okay, that's interesting. You must have a lot of zeros. So we went to layout, and then we went to data, and then we went to formula. Okay? And then at formula, we clicked the formula, and we had sum above, which typed all by itself. Okay, well then you have to be clicked in the cell underneath annual savings to start. You have to be clicked right here in this cell. And then you go to layout and data and formula, and it gives you sum above, and you pick currency, which is, this is saying we're going to give you it in dollar format with a 0, a decimal, and 2 zeros, and we say okay, and then it prints the formula down here. All right? That's all right. All right, everybody ready? Change the annual savings for the higher efficiency shower head to 35. So right now, notice we have $223.80. We're going to change this by $3. And when we hit enter, nothing happens. If we were in Excel, it would automatically update this formula. But we need to come back down here to this formula and go back to our layout tab, back to our formula icon, and we need to click OK to update it. And our total ends up being $226. So go ahead and save that new value, and basically you just tested your formula. Autofit the table contents. Center the table horizontally on the page. So let's start with auto fitting the table contents. Let's hit the whole table, which is up here in the left-hand corner. And when you do that, you have a table tools over here on the right that are design, and table tools over here a little bit further right that is our layout. Okay? And what we want to do is auto fit. So we're going to come under here on the cell size panel on the layout tab and click auto fit, and we want to auto fit contents. And basically it resizes the cells to fit around the words that have been typed. And now it says center the table. So center table width, table row height. I mean, we can go over here to home and hit center like this. I wonder if that's what it's looking for. Shade row 1 with blue, accent 1, lighter 40. So we're going to highlight row 1, which is our title. And we're going to come into design and we're going to go to shading. And we want to blue, accent 1, lighter 40, which I think is this one. Is it? That one right there? Yep. So blue, accent 1, lighter 40. And so it's basically a little bit lighter than the words we picked. And then shade row 2. So we're going to go to our subtitles here, under 100, and highlight that row. It's basically row 2. And shade that with blue, accent 1, lighter 80%. So you're going to get just a little bit lighter. And probably this one, the top one, next to top one. Okay? So blue, accent 1, lighter 80%. Apply a blue accent 1 darter 25%, 1.5 size double line border. Okay, so I click my whole table over here in the left side. I'm in the design tab and I come to border styles. I'm going to go ahead and click 1.5 right here. And then I'm going to go to border styles and it's asking us to pick double line border around the outside of the table. Apply blue accent 1. I think when you do this, it's going to give you a pin. And then you have to like pin around the border, which is kind of weird. And kind of draw around the border. So you end up with those double, see, and it took it off there. Those double lines. See, I have 2 lines there and 2 lines there. And that would be the end of step 4. You do want to save after you've worked on a table like that. I'm not sure it got that whole thing there. I don't think it got the bottom for me. I'm going to try again one more time to try to get the bottom.
You gotta click exactly on the line.
Yeah, I think it's really particular. So you get this paint and you just gotta really be right on. Seems to be giving me a single line. Okay, there's my double line. I just needed to change the view. All right, so we're gonna save and move on to step 5. And step 5 says the first thing we need to do is delete the first column in months. Okay, so we're gonna go to the other table. From the table at the top of page 2. So we're at the bottom of page 2. Now we're gonna move to the table that has months, modifications, ROI, kilowatts, cost, annual savings, and cost per unit. The first thing it asks us to do is delete the first column. So I just highlight that first column and you can hit your delete column, but look, what it does is just take out the text. So I'm going to edit undo. I'm going to right click and I'm going to click delete column. And then it will get rid of not only the text, but it also gets rid of the column itself. So again, I highlighted the column, I right clicked, and I chose delete column. Once you've done that, you should have 6 columns. And now it's asking you to insert a row above row 1 in the same table. So we're going to click at modifications, which is in the A1 cell, the first cell in the first column. And we're going to right click and we're going to insert row above. Click in the column, right click, insert row above. Of course, there's other ways to do this. I'm just showing you the way I'm familiar with. The other thing is they want you to merge these cells, which means instead of having 6 cells up here, we're just gonna have 1. So while those cells are still highlighted, I'm gonna right click and click Merge Cells, which is gonna make it just one big fat cell. Does that make sense? Okay, so there we have it. Type return on investment for household energy efficiency improvements. I'm gonna just highlight that, go Control C, and then click in my cell and go Control V to just move that text in that cell. And then it's saying apply the table style grid table 2, accent 3, row 2, column 2 in the grid table. So I have to go find this now. And to do that, the first thing I'm gonna do is, I'm just trying to, oh, it didn't do it. I'm sorry, I was trying to highlight that. Ha, not gonna do it. Oh well, don't turn yours yellow. Okay, so I'm gonna click my whole table, which is that little X right there, and it's saying we want you to apply a table style grid. So I'm gonna come to Table Tools and Design, and I'm gonna come to Table Styles, and it wants us to go to Grid Table 2, Accent 3, which is this one. Okay, so once you've highlighted your whole table, you just click Grid Table 2, Accent 3, and then it kind of turns it gray and a little bit of blue, and we're done with step 5. Okay, now it's saying, whoops, a little bit bigger here. Step 6, insert a row between rows 5 and 6 of attic insulation and duct ceiling. So that's these 2 rows right here. So if you'll click on duct sealant right there, and then right click and choose insert row above, insert row above, it will put a blank row between attic insulation and duct sealant. And then it says, type the following data in the new row with each entry showing in a separate cell. So in the first cell, you want to type wrap water pipes. That will definitely save us on electricity. And then you want to type 48%. And then hit tab between the cells and type 60. Then actually you're going to do $, which is shift 4, 0.15, then tab, then $, 4.80, then tab, then $, and 10410. And save. That's the end of step 6. Step 9. Insert a column at the right of cost per unit. So we're actually done with the annual savings for the moment. I'm going to go ahead and take my coloring off of that so you know where we're at. And then we're over here in cost per unit, which is this column. Oops. Okay. Insert a column to the right of it. So I'm going to click on cost per unit up in my title, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to insert column to the right. And obviously we've worked a lot with manipulating tables today, so you do need to be able to do that. Type estimated cost increase as the new column heading. So I'm going to just highlight that. Control C. I'm going to click in my top cell and Control V, and I have estimated cost increase. In rows 3 through 8 of the new column, enter a formula that increases the cost per unit by 3%. The formula for row 3, so that's 1, 2, 3, is F3 times O3 plus F3. Okay, here's your formula it's showing for you, and that's really nice, but I do want you to be able to understand what that formula means. So let's take a second. Modifications right here. This is column A. ROI is column B. KWH savings is column C. You do not need to do this. I'm just trying to show you which is which. Okay. Cost per kilowatt is A, B, C, column D. All right. And annual savings is column E. Let's give it a different color, Daphne. Okay. And cost per unit is column F. And that is the column that we're going to be dealing with right now. Okay. So the formula they want us to type is equals F3. So again, that's,
And row 3, right? Not row 2?
we are, that's row 3. This is row 1 is your header, row 2 is your cost per unit, and row 3 is high efficiency shower head. So we're going F3, which is actually $8, and then we're going shift 8 times 3%, which when we take 3%, we divide 3 by 100, and we get the decimal format, which is 0.03. And then mathematically, we're going to do that multiplication first, and then we're going to go shift plus, which is up by your backspace key, and we're going to go ahead and add that to the value of the cost per unit again. So we type F3 again. Now, we actually place this formula in this cell, but we need our formula box again. I like to go ahead and type all my formulas out and then bring that formula box up. You don't have to do it this way, but I just find that if I go ahead and do this, then I don't make formula mistakes working down. Now, once we're in Excel, Excel will copy down the column for us. We'll only have to type the first formula, and it will do all the rest for us with a pull-down menu, which was really awesome. So I'm just going down each cell and typing the same formula, but moving it down one space, F5, and now I'm typing F6 times 3% plus F6 again. So you should have 7 and 8, and you won't put 1 in the total. And you do want to look at your formulas before we begin and make sure they're correct. It'll make it so much easier. All right, so we've got all our formulas, and what I'm going to actually do, I'm going to go back to this first cell of F3. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to go Control X. You can also right click and go cut, whatever works for you. And then I'm going to go to the layout menu. I'm going to go to data and formula, maybe. And I'm going to highlight the formula that's there and go Control V. And here is my formula that I want to appear in estimated cost increase equals F3 times O3 plus F3. All right. But I need it in currency format. It's asking me right now if I wanted percent format, but no, I want currency, so I'll change my number formatting to dollar, number, comma, number, and then I click OK, and I should have $8.24 in the first slot. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to highlight my formula, Control X to cut it, go into data, go into formula, and go Control V, currency, and OK. This one I'll right click for you to walk you through it. I'm going to highlight the formula. I'm going to right click. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to come to data in the layout tab to formula, and I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to right click. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to go to number format and OK. So work your way down that column. Once you've gotten your formulas all the way down, make sure you save. How did I make them currency? So now we're on step 10. Check the spelling and any mistakes. So just click on your document. You can even click over here on the margins and save, and then go to the review tab, which is up here on the very top, and click spelling and grammar. Wow, normally it comes up with one word that's misspelled. Here it is, desirable. Desirable doesn't have an E in it, so we want to go ahead and pick change, and then it replaces it with the correct spelling and says we're okay. So now we have our second instruction on step 10. It says create a caption to be shown below the first table on page 2. So this is our first table on page 2, and we're going to select the whole table. Your table won't have rainbow colors, but we're going to select the whole table, and then we're going to go over to layout, change my mind, design, table tools, caption. Everything's different. All right, so we highlighted our table, and we're going to go back to references. We actually were in references to do our spelling and grammar check, and now we're going to go to the Captions panel and click Insert Caption. Okay, and when you do this, of course, there's a dialog box. The first thing you want to do is go below selected item. I suggest this because very often we forget this, and I just want you to get it in the right place. So you want it below the table. Then back up in the caption title, if you go shift and colon, and then type one space, return on investment for energy improvements. This will put this caption right beneath the table, and it identifies the table for APA referencing or MLA referencing, but it also identifies the table for a visually impaired person. Their software reader can read that where it cannot read the table. Okay, so now we've done step 10 and then the caption, and we've said what the caption should be, and we should go on to step 11. Modify the caption style. I'm going to highlight that caption, and I'm going to modify the style over in home. I'm going to come to home, and it's asking me to make sure I'm centered. So I'm going to go to the paragraph dialog box and center it. And then it's asking me to make sure it's bold and italicized. It was already italicized, but you want to make sure that those letters are leaning. Okay. And then it says with a font color of blue, accent 1, darker 50. So we come to our font dialog box, and we look for blue, accent 1, darker 50, which it's the very bottom one, I apologize. So blue, accent 1, darker 50%, right there. And we've made our caption correctly for step 11, and we save. And then we're progressing down to step 2. Insert a page break at the top of the document. So guys, you want to scroll and gals, you want to scroll all the way up to the top. Click right before the word Home Improvement Tips. Go into your Insert tab. Come over to the left to Pages. And at Pages, you want to insert a page break. Okay, and all you have to do once you click before that title is click Page Break. Now move to the top of the newly inserted page, and that means you want to scroll back up and click before this page break, okay? And insert text from the EX16 Word Grader file, thanks. This is the letter of thank you that we will be inserting in our mail merge, all right? So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to come way over here to the text panel. I'm still in the Insert tab. And under the text panel, I'm on the object, insert an object, but I want to go down to insert text from file, okay? Once we do that, it'll bring up our folder we were last working on. If it doesn't, you need to scroll back to your pen drive or your desktop where your Word3 folder is. And then if you'll expand your names between name and date, you can see that this file with the word thanks at the end is the file we're looking for. We just double click it and it's inserted. Okay, so you should be able to see, I'm going to make my document a little bit smaller so you can see that we have inserted a letter. All right, and that's the end of step 12. Okay, now we're going to start the mail merge wizard, and we're going to still work in this document. I suggest clicking like right by the date because it's going to ask us in a minute to work with that. But let's just click somewhere by the date, and we're going to go to the mailings tab, which we haven't used yet. It's the 7th tab. And then under Start Mail Merge, we're going to click the drop-down menu, and we actually want to come to the step-by-step mail merge wizard. And it's asking us, it says, use the sheet EX1603 grader. So when we insert, we want to make sure we insert an Excel document that has addresses on it. So what type of document are you working on? We're actually working on a letter, and we've already inserted that. So we're going to click Next. And then it says, do you want to set up your current document? Yes, we do. That's what we're working on. We have our thank you letter already ready to go. So we're going to click Next. And then it says, do you want to use an existing list for your recipients or an Outlook list or type a new list? You could type your own list here of addresses and names and places you would like these letters to go to. Or if you happen to have an email set up in Outlook, you could import from there. We have an existing list we want to use, and we're going to browse our computer for it. If you'll click Browse, you'll be brought back into the folder you were working on. My data sources is not where we want to go this time. We want to go back to our Word3 folder, okay, where we saved all our files, and we want to make sure we find the Excel file. It should have the word customers at the end, but more importantly, it should have that green icon and say Word Excel file, okay? If you'll double click that, it will insert the selected table, which it was a table of addresses. It will insert it into this mail merge document. The beauty of a mail merge is that you can write one letter, but send it to 2, 10, or 500 recipients, and it will, in exchange, it will keep the body of your letter, but it will insert their addresses, their names, and other fields that you might want. So we're going to click OK, that is the table we want. And then we have some special instructions down here in the step. It says, make sure your data source includes only records with a zip code 65757. This is a type of filter and sort. We are combing down our information. See, right now we have lots of zip codes. So I expanded my mail merge recipients, and I'm going to come over here to zip, and I'm going to click that arrow and choose. I could sort by ascending, which would be listing my zip codes in A to Z order, or smallest to largest, or I could change to largest to smallest. But what I want to do is find zip code 65757. And when I do that, you'll notice only 2 recipients are available, Daniel and Mary. Okay? So we will be making a mail merge to 2 people. Click OK. We click Next, write your letter. And it's asking us, if you've not already done so, write your letter now, and here's how you insert an address block, a greeting line, postage, and more items. So let's go on to our next instructions in step 14. Continue to write the letter and insert an address block below the date. So I'm gonna click after the end of the date and move my cursor down. I just use my arrows there to move my cursor down. And then I'm going to insert a address block. It says use default settings. So I insert the address block. It is going to look like this. The first letter is going to be addressed to Mr. Daniel Habersham. The second letter is going to be addressed to Ms. Mary Slater. I say okay. And that has, look right over here. It has inserted an address block, but see that right there? You don't see anything. You just see the word address block. When you have two double greater than, less than symbols around a field, that means your merge worked for that field. The full address of Daniel and Mary will be inserted in there for your letters. Now it says, using default, follow the space after the word dear. So I'm going to click after the word dear right here with my mouse over here on the left and insert the title followed by a space and the last name. So I'm going to come to more items over here. All right, more items, and going to click title. Title is like Mr., Mrs., Doctor, all right? And we're going to click insert, and then it says after the insert, follow a space. So I'm going to hit my space bar once. Nope, followed by a space. That's not right. Okay, and the last name. I'm going to go ahead and click last name and insert that, and I'm going to close, and then I'm going to come back here and get rid of that extra title that I had. So I'm going to click up there and just hit delete. Whoa, or backspace. It didn't like that. Did not like me doing that. All right. So I've got dear, title, and last name, and those are the fields I've inserted, and it's asking me to replace, do not delete the colon, replace student name at the end of the letter with Brett Sams. So we would just come down here to student name, and we would just type one in, because this will be the same for every document, all right? And that's the end of step 14. Step 15 says preview your letters. So we're going to go to next to preview your letter, and this is kind of cool. You'll see right up here at the top, it says Ms. Mary Slater, 1234 River Edge Lane. But if I click my arrows up here at recipient, I can see here's Mr. Daniel Habersham's letter, and so both those letters are there, and you can see how your fields insert as we work through those. So adjust the address spacing that the text is single spaced with no paragraph spacing. And I am just going to highlight it and go to home and go back to paragraph. And it says single spacing. Ha 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 ha. That's not what I wanted. You know what? I'm going to leave it for now. Okay, I went through it and I went backspace. I clicked my mouse and then I went shift and enter to get a one space formatting. I'm sure there's another way to do that. We'll look into that. I just clicked my mouse before each field and backspace, and if you click after it, shift and enter, that rechanges your formatting. And then it says preview the letter, address spacing so that the text is single spaces with no paragraph. And I'm not even sure that's gonna go to the merge on the other. Let's see. Nope, look, it didn't work. So we needed to change that back in when we were doing the merge. Okay, we're gonna go back to that real quick, the address block. Let's see if we can get that to come up. Nope. All right, you know what? We're just gonna go on. We're gonna do our best, and that's all we can do. we previewed our letters, and so the text is single spacing with no paragraph spacing. That is just interesting. Okay. Step 16, complete the merge with all records producing a document containing 2 letters. Copy all the text from the new document, and then you put it back into your original document. This is an unusual step, so let's see if we can get that going. We're going to go complete the merge, and then when we come up here, we're going to click merge to new document, which says edit individual letters, and we want to merge all records, okay? So again, we clicked finish your merge, we clicked edit individual letters, and then on merge records, we clicked all. On all, we're gonna click OK, and now watch. Guys, we have 2 documents, all right? Here up above at the very top is the original document we made, and here is the merge document. I want you to click on the middle of the merged document and go Control+A. That highlights everything, all this stuff we made, all right? Now, Control+X takes it out, and then I'm gonna take my other document and I'm gonna scroll down to the end. I'm gonna click at the end, and did our instructions just say copy paste, I believe? And I'm gonna Control+V to paste all that extra merge information. There it is again, all the merge and all the letters, okay? So we combined it into one long document that is our number 1 grader 3. Make sure you save that gobbledygook and ensure that the insertion point is at the top of the new page. I put it at the bottom. So I'm going to undo. I'm going to scroll up to the top. No? There it is. It's at the top. Oh, this is the letter we made the merge on. So you have to click there before the letter we made the merge on and then paste it. Wow. I apologize. So it should have been at the top. Highlight it, and you can right click and copy and then right click and paste, or you can Control+A to highlight the whole thing, and then you can click and Control+C to copy, and then click where you want it to go and Control+V to paste. I might need some notes in this video over that one. All right, so we pasted the copied text, and now we're supposed to save this original document and upload it. Save and close the other document and close this new document without saving and submit this document. So this is the document, the number 1 that we just made all the copies to, that we want to upload for grading. It was fun to mail merge.